Hello, Wonderhussy here, out in the middle of absolute nowhere. This time I'm in the southeast Oregon desert. Okay, southeast Oregon, people think of Oregon as lush, old growth, redwood forests. Well, there's a lot of that over on the west side of the state, but on the east side of the state, you have these beautiful high desert sagebrush plains that are dotted with all kinds of fabulous abandoned ruins, like this place. Okay, you might be able to tell from the sign on the gate behind me here that this is called the Shirk Ranch. And unlike other abandoned ranches I've explored, well, unfortunately, this isn't just some random abandoned property that we can make up outlandish theories as to who lived there and what happened to them. This ranch is on the National Register of Historic Places. It's owned and maintained by the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, aka the federal government. And well, they want to preserve it because it's a perfect example of a late 1800s pioneer cattle ranch. Okay, you know how all those pioneers headed west on the Oregon Trail to get their free land in Oregon? Well, this is where they ended up, and this is the kind of ranch they would have ended up establishing. I mean, if they were successful and prospered, unless they suffered a broken axle or a terrible case of cholera on the way out. If you ever played that video game Oregon Trail, well, you know what I'm talking about, but those were actually very real possibilities of things that could happen. I think something like 1 out of every 17 people died on the Oregon Trail. It was a rough journey to get out here, but when you did get out here, well, this prime ranch land was yours for the taking, as long as you didn't mind fighting off a few Injuns while you were at it. Apologies to the Native Americans, but that's just the way people thought and spoke back then. Anyway, this David Shirk looks like he was pretty prosperous and successful at what he did. I think he ended up buying this ranch in 1883. He bought it from somebody else. I don't know if these buildings were already on it or if he erected them, but well, it's a pretty impressive 2-story ranch house, and what really blows my mind is that this is maintained by the federal government, but you're allowed to just go poking around inside it. Since when does the government ever let you do anything fun like this? We better do it fast before they change their mind. You know what I mean? Like, look how dangerous this place is, and people are so litigious nowadays. I'm surprised they trust people to go poking around this old building unsupervised, but hey, I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to poke around unsupervised. Oh my goodness, look at this building. This is wild. Look at the linoleum on the floor. Oh, the creepy staircase leading up to the second floor. Creepy door blowing open going back to the rest of the house. Oh, I got to focus. Okay, we're going to be very methodical about this and just go room to room. Okay, so this is the entryway that has this fabulous linoleum that, I mean, it looks 1970s to me, but I guess it's more like 1890s. And this is just kind of like a front room, mud room. There's nails on the wall to hang your coat. Like I said, there's a staircase going up. There's a door in the back going back to the kitchen. On the right-hand side here, there's a room with amazing linoleum. Look at this pattern. There's a little tiny closet, because back in those days, people didn't have nearly as many clothes as we do nowadays. You know, you had your Sunday going to church outfit, and you had your work overalls and maybe 1 or 2 other changes, maybe some long johns for the winter if you were lucky. I'm looking out the door because there was a Sprinter van on the road behind me, and I know they're probably on their way here. And well, it's inevitable. They're going to hear me talking to myself, and they're probably going to think I'm crazy, but well, little will they realize that I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to all of you. I'm giving you a tour of this amazing historic abandoned ranch house. Okay, so that was a bedroom on the right. Now let's go to the left. See what this must have been, like a living room or something. Oh, it's that same amazing linoleum flooring. Oh, maybe this was a bedroom too. There's a real crusty old fold up, I guess cot you would call it. But I mean, objectively speaking, if you step back and you use your imagination, this would have been a really nice bedroom. Big windows, lots of light, you know, nice sunny room, sort of like a seafoam green colored walls, very cheerful. Okay, now let's go back into the good old fashioned ranch house kitchen, see if anyone's cooking up any flapjacks for us. Oh, doesn't look like it, not anymore. Oh, but again, can't you just see the potential in this beautiful, huge ranch kitchen? These cool curtains hanging over the window. I mean, again, these don't look 1800s. I'm guessing somebody lived here more recently than that. Look at this. Real crusty old recliner. Looks like somebody just got up yesterday. They left their magazine sitting on it. What is this? Oh, National Geographic, August 79. So somebody got up in August of 79 and left their magazine where they were sitting, and it's just like they left it all those years ago. But you know what? See what I mean about, look at this fake brick on the wall? Like, this does not look 1800s. This looks the 1970s. Which is interesting to me because I read that Shirk lived here, oh gosh, from like 1883 until I think he finally moved, of all places, he moved to Berkeley, California in 1928. God only knows why you'd ever move there. Just kidding. I love Berkeley. I'm from the East Bay myself originally. I was born in Walnut Creek. Woo-woo. Anyway, he gave this ranch over to some land trust. And so I don't know, maybe they let somebody live here in the meantime, because obviously these 70s drapes and flooring and stuff, that's what that seems to indicate to me. But what do I know? Okay, anyway, I'm sure there would have been a bigger ranch table than this back in the day to feed all the ranch hands. You know, back in the 1800s, there was probably a huge wooden table with benches on either side, and some poor woman back here in the kitchen frying up flapjacks and bacon. And oh my goodness, does anybody even come to this? This is well marked on the map, but it doesn't look like anyone's been here forever. Look at this, American kitchens. That is an old faucet. You know, this definitely isn't original because it wouldn't have been plumbed like this back in 1883. Let's see what this paper is. Lake County Examiner. Oh, 1994. Wow, I wonder if somebody was living here all the way until 1994. That's wild. I mean, this place just seems so old. These shelves in the kitchen. Oh gosh, and it's one of those kitchens where like the doors on the other side of the cabinet open so you can just pass the food through to the people who are eating. Oh man. Here's a little side room. This is like a walk-in pantry. Oh, what? There was a shower in the walk-in pantry, and it's a really creepy shower. I don't see the shower head. Oh, I guess it came from here. It's just missing. Wow, so there was a shower in the kitchen. Amazing, beautiful blueprint linoleum in here. All throughout the kitchen in this weird little shower room. I mean, I guess it makes sense to have a shower in the kitchen. If you're living on a ranch, you get dirty, you want to clean up before you go in and have supper, you know? Like how I said supper instead of dinner. I just feel like that's what they would call it on a ranch. Supper, I think supper is lunch, right? And dinner is dinner? Or is it vice versa? Anyway, here's another little side room off the kitchen. Looks like just more storage for food. Nothing left in here now. Well, nothing except amazing memories and lots of outbuildings. I think there's 7 structures on this property to explore. I mean, most of them are just barns and outbuildings. I went ahead in here first, which normally I like to save the ranch house for last, but I wanted to get here before I had company. Okay, now the time has come to go up this staircase. Are you ready? I'm sure the government wouldn't let me go up this staircase if it wasn't secure, right? Stairs seem pretty solid. You know, it doesn't feel like it's about to give way. Oh goodness, look up here. It's just one big long bedroom. It looks like there was a bunch of beds in here, or at least a bunch of mattresses. Maybe more of a flop house, but lots of windows. Yeah, so this upstairs room would have slept quite a number of people. And then look here, these are, I think, stovepipe holes coming from below to let hot air up from the, I guess there was a wood burning stove down below, so that the people who were sleeping up here didn't freeze in the wintertime. There's another one here. This must be where the chimney was downstairs. And it came up through here, through the roof. Golly, look at these views through the window. Look how beautiful it is out here. What a place to have a ranch. You know, you can really understand why these people risked their lives literally on the Oregon Trail. Like I said, I think something like 1 out of 17 people died, and well, if you could get a spread like this for free, I mean, obviously there weren't buildings on it. You had to build that yourself. And I wonder where he even got the wood to build this place, because there's no trees anywhere out here. It's just sagebrush. So that must have had to be shipped in by rail, and that would have been pretty expensive. So I imagine at first he probably lived in a pretty rough little dwelling, which Well, maybe we'll find that out here. It's probably still around the ground somewhere. Oh yeah, look, I can see the people in that Sprinter van. They just pulled up. We can see them through the window there. Oh man, if I wasn't such a nice person, I could really mess with them, you know, like, whoa, jump out from behind one of these doors when they come in here. But I won't. I'll say hi and let them know I'm here. Anyway, this is the last bedroom of the upstairs. I guess just Shirk's family must have lived here. I don't know how many kids he had. The information I read online didn't say. But, you know, probably the kids slept upstairs, the parents slept downstairs, kitchen, living room downstairs. Everyone was happy. Okay, so we just came out the main door. Let's go. I saw something interesting out one of the windows back here that I thought would be fun to check out. Look at this old water tower. Oh my God, first of all, look at the back entrance of this ranch house, how amazing that is. But yeah, look at this cool old water tower. I mean, this is how he would have had to collect all his water back in the day from rainfall. Because it's a pretty vast, dry desert out here otherwise. Okay, let's poke around some of these other outbuildings. I gotta be real careful not to step on a snake. There's so much grass out here. And I was just talking to the people in that Sprinter van. They're a very nice couple, traveling around, exploring stuff. And he was telling me all about how he almost stepped on a rattlesnake in Montana once, but still, the same applies here. I need to be mindful of where I'm stepping, and I probably shouldn't be talking to my camera and walking at the same time. Okay, this is the back porch to the ranch house. Oh, and see, this kind of ties in with what I was thinking about that shower being inside there, because there's a sink on the back porch. So when you came in after working all day and you were dirty, I guess you could wash up there. You would have had your bar soap right here in this little metal soap dish. Wash your hands, although I don't know where the faucet is, but I do know that, oh my God, look at I don't know if this is linoleum or formica next to the sink. It's an amazing pattern. Oh, I just love all the little details at this ranch house. This ranch house really is like something out of a romance novel, like just the kind of house where, you know, the pioneer woman has a TV show and she cooks all those home comfort meals. Well, you know, every woman wants their cowboy and their ranch house and a passel of kids running around. Well, most women want that. Some women want that. I never really was one of those women. I'd much rather just poke around an abandoned ranch house and make up a story about the rancher's wife and the hot rancher and all their kids and, well, you know what I mean. I like my freedom to explore. Okay, so there's just some kind of outbuildings out here that probably had animals in them, maybe work implements. Nothing super exciting. I mean, it looks like somebody maybe was sleeping in here at some point in the past. I guess maybe there's been squatters at this property over the years. Gosh, what a lonely place to squat, though. I mean, when I said I was out in the middle of nowhere, I know I say that a lot, but I'm not kidding. To get here, I had to drive through some of the most desolate country I've ever driven through. And I live just outside Death Valley, okay? I mean, when I say desolate, this is so late. So to squat in this, I mean, they must have been on the lam, you know, trying to hide from the police. Actually, can you imagine a better place to hide from the cops? This is actually a perfect place. Who would think to look for you out here in the creepy old abandoned ranch house? Okay, I did see something else interesting over here by this lonely little shack across the road. I wonder why this shack is set so far back from the main house. Maybe this was the original house where he lived. But this is also milled lumber, so that wouldn't make sense. I mean, when they first got out here, they would have had to have lived in a tent or something. Well, the stairs are gone. Well, I guess I can... God, I can't believe there's no signs here saying, you know, do not enter the buildings or anything like that. It just blows my mind that they trust us enough to do this. And after watching this video, they're probably going to put like 10,000 signs up going, do not enter the buildings. Okay, anyways, this cabin has an old rusty metal bed spring in the front room and then a back room. Looks like it did have a window with panes at one time, but, well, unfortunately the walls have pretty much fallen apart back here. But this was, at one time, a 2-bedroom cabin, so somebody must have lived in this. But I don't think it was the original dwelling. Like I said, the original, when they first got here, they would have had to have Well, I think a lot of pioneers just lived in their wagons, to be honest. They used the wood and the canvas from the top of the wagon to just sort of build a very crude, kind of like a tent structure to live in while they built a cabin or whatever. But again, there's no trees out here, so I don't know how he would have built a cabin. Oh, he could have built a stone cabin. I mean, you can see over here, there is a really cool old stone fireplace. I wonder if this was part of a cabin or if this was an outdoor. This could have just been like an outdoor forge or something for blacksmithing, maybe. Looks like there's an old bag from a bag of ice in the fire pit. And that makes me think that people camped here. And oh my goodness, can you think of a creepier but cooler place to camp? I'll be honest, I was kind of considering camping here myself tonight. Because it'd be like camping on the set of a horror movie. I mean, I'm not one to sensationalize things, but if I ever saw the textbook example of a creepy old haunted house, this old ranch house is it. Fortunately, I changed my mind and I decided to move on down the road and camp a little bit closer to, if not at, my next destination. You know, I'm kind of surprised and disappointed that there's no signage here talking about the history of this place. I mean, I, for once in my life, looked it up ahead of time and even downloaded it so that I could refresh my memory when I got here. So I know the name of the guy and the year he bought the ranch and the fact that he ended up moving to Berkeley. But another thing I guess I should mention is he actually was tried for murder. Okay, he had two ranches. He had this ranch, which is in the beautiful and I guess aptly named Guano Valley. That's right, this vast valley we're in the middle of is called the Guano Valley, which guano, if you know what that is bat poop, and it's apparently very valuable. I guess it has a lot of industrial uses. In fact, I think it used to be in mascara, you know, that ladies put on their eyelashes. But anyway, this is the Guano Valley. This dude Shirk, he had a ranch here and he had another ranch in a nearby valley, and I guess that was a pretty big operation, and he got into some kind of skirmish over water rights. Okay, you know how they say in the West, whiskey's for drinking and water is for fighting. Now more than ever that Lake Mead is drying up and, well, we're in the middle of this epic mega drought. Well, anyway, now as then, water was a big deal, or I should say then as now, water was a big deal. And, well, I guess him and one of his neighbors got into some skirmish over grazing, I think grazing and water rights, and he ended up shooting and killing one of the other ranchers' ranch hands. And he was tried for murder, but he was acquitted. I mean, I guess that's just how things were settled back then. And so they went, oh, well, it happens. And they let him off. And he ended up moving to Berkeley. Go figure. But I'm kind of surprised that there's no signage talking about any of that here. I guess this place is like maintained by the BLM, but not super actively. It's weird. It's just sort of like they left it here to sort of genteelly decay. Okay, here's the last building we haven't gone into, and I think it's the workshop. And since I'm sure many of you would enjoy looking at old tools, well, let's go in. Oh, wow. Okay, so it's a rough building, but it provides shade and, you know, there's tables to work on. Look at these tables are covered in cow poo. Why? It's not like the cows got up here and did that. Somebody took the time to pick it up and put it up here. Kind of weird. Gosh, and animals have just packed all kinds of branches and brush in here. But yeah, you can see this was a table that they used for tools. It looks like they tested out some kind of brand or something there. And then those holes look like they were all drilled by somebody. Wow, but you can see here these shelves, they would have been full of everything, you know? Out here on a ranch, you gotta have everything laid in. You know, it's not like you can run to Home Depot to get a number 2 screw or whatever. You gotta have it all here. And so each and every one of those bins was probably full of all kinds of farm implements. I mean, he had to do all the work here by himself. Isn't that wild? Like, it's not like you could call a contractor. You know, I live kind of out in the middle of nowhere now myself, just outside Death Valley, and it can be tough getting contractors out to do work on the place. So my sister in particular, she's had to become very adept at doing her own repairs. And that's how it would have been living out here back in the 1800s, you know? There was nobody to come out here and save you. You had to do it all yourself. Okay, out these cool back doors to the other side of the workshop. Oh, look, there's a table out here with all kinds of rusty old stuff on it. I have no idea what most of this is, but I'm sure many of you watching would know. I mean, look at this. This is like a real old electrical outlet. I mean, he had to do all his own electrical too, obviously not Shirk. Although Shirk lived here until 28, so I guess maybe he did have electricity out here. Huh. Oh, dang, it's heavy. Well, this is cool. I guess people found this stuff laying around and just kind of piled it up on the table, or maybe he left it all on the table. The last person to live here left it on the table. Who knows? You know, it's interesting. At first when I got here, I was kind of like, well, this is no fun. I like the kinds of like newly abandoned properties where I can make up outlandish stories and, you know, dig through the personal effects that are left over. Well, there's not going to be any personal effects left over here because it's an officially sanctioned ruin, abandoned ruin, and that's not any fun. But you know what? I'm going to revise my opinion because there's just enough historical information available about this guy. The fact that he murdered his rival rancher's ranch hand, the fact that he ended up dying in Berkeley. But we don't know everything about his life. So there's just enough wiggle room to make up interesting stories. And I would actually really like to come back here and camp out sometime. Just not tonight, because I think this other couple's camping here and they have a friend coming. And well, if I camped at a place like this, well, I would either want to be alone, so it would be supremely spooky, or I'd want to be with a group of friends and brew a big pot of tea and see what kind of crazy stories our imaginations would tell about what all had happened here at the historic Shirk Ranch.